Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark. In the blue, the final boss. It's Dark. Up against one of his greatest rivals. In the red, it's Micro Jackson, ByuN. A best-of-3 Terran versus Zerg showdown. And these two, for over a decade, have delivered on a regular basis some of the most epic and dramatic matches in StarCraft 2. And if you like epic and dramatic matches delivered to you on a regular basis, well, for the low price of smashing that like button, and maybe even subscribing, you can convince the algorithm to do so. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,411 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another series. And while Dark's still playing, apparently, I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Reaper comes in, drones, feeling harassed in the workplace, pops into a Spore Crawler for a quick break, and Queen comes out and drives the Reaper away. And fun fact, the reason this finals is a best-of-3, a shorter series, is because apparently Dark's internet cut out. After the semifinals, he picked up his mouse and keyboard and went to a PC cafe, so there was quite a significant delay. But credit to the passion that Dark has to actually go to a PC cafe to play this out. I have no idea how it's going to go, considering those circumstances. But shout out to Dark, as always. Always finding a way to show good games for the fans. Gas is on the way now. The Queen trying to drive away the Reaper. It's going to be a ByuN build from ByuN, which, okay. So ByuN popularized this build that Diamond Terran players are still using to this day. The simplest possible style, but an effective one. The Reaper! Okay, that's enough. The Zerglings hunted down and mauled to death. But it's simply 2 base into double medevac Marines with Stim. About as simple as you can get while still having access to those key components of a bunch of dudes with drugs, guns, and enablers to carry them across the field. Hell yeah, brothers. The Overlord will live for now. The medevacs will come out eventually. He's already waltzing across the map. Dark has a Roach Warren on the way. I think ByuN was going to be doing this build either way. The 2-1-1 was going to happen. The Roaches, on the other hand, very likely as well, as using just as Zerglings here on Dynasty means you constantly have to run back and forth in and out of your base. The Roaches are a little easier to position in order to block things out. So even though he's only going to have Sloaches, nobody uses Ravagers quite like Dark does. The thing is, well, Dark about to realize, really boosting the he boosts the medevacs to make sure he gets the Overlord. 1 Marine left behind. The Roaches were headed out. The 1 Roach. Yeah. Inspectors here. And the SCV's on the run. Yeah. 2 Roaches now. That's twice as many. Be intimidated. And speaking of intimidation, the Marines are dropping out. There's still a bunch of Roaches on the high ground. Doesn't quite get the creep. Going up and down. The Queen's here to zone out. And a single siege tank should be enough to drive away these Roaches. The Queens? Well, I'm not going to get any of this. Maybe Ravagers could help out, but the Queens caught on each other here. 1-2 gun down. The only saving grace for Dark is that ByuN will not have any weapons or armor upgrades for quite a while. Of course, Dark won't either. He didn't start his 1-1 yet. But when you go for the 2-base medevac play, it's all about maintaining momentum. It's all about getting damage done. Look at the worker count, 58 to 43. This is why the 3cc plays have become a lot more common, as even though ByuN is able to get damage done quickly, he doesn't have that much economy back at home. Oh my god, he's just using the Ravagers. And the siege tanks aren't quite in range. One of those Ravager toes strays into siege tank range and takes some big hits there. The Ravagers can take a surprising pounding, considering they're not actually armored units, so siege tanks don't get a damage bonus against them. They're neither light units either. They're certainly hefty, but that's not a tag we have at the moment. Alright, Marines darting into the main base. Now just, this is a little awkward. Another Overlord goes down. But Dark still sitting back. Third command center's now done. Mule's dropped. And that means a decent economy. Ooh. Wow. The Mule Canyon. The Grand Economic Disparity Canyon. Yes, that. Very American. As ByuN gets his third base up and running, though Dark gets back to work, still has a decent drone count for what this is. And what this is a whole bunch of roaches with speed. As getting pulled apart by the drops does not sound like a great long-term option. As Dark is building up enough roaches and ideally Ravagers to be able to put the aggression onto ByuN's side of the map. The roaches waiting for that drop. The creep towards the north side where Dark is actually taking a fourth. Another drop at the back, and even though there are roaches here, there's only 5 queens in total. Most of them out on the field. The roaches and Ravagers taking down the rocks here, moving into position. But ByuN is already stimming in. He may be able to take down the hatchery. Just goes straight for the Ravagers. Guns down. Just 1. 2 more barely survive. And this is the worst part of this map. Is struggling back and forth trying to deal with this. He jukes back and forth, and without mutas, without hydras, there's really no way to deal with this. But the thing is, if you go for mutas or hydras or any of these things, you slow down something like hive tech. There's the hydra den, almost certainly for lurkers, the drop into the main, but at some point it does feel justified, as these drops are getting incredibly annoying and difficult to dislodge. The Queen's trying to take down one of the medevacs. The Queen will be taken down in turn. Make that 2 of them. But another one. And guns down the medevac with all hands. 14 drones dead. But the Queen gets her revenge. At least to some extent. Dark at 64 workers. ByuN at 64 workers. Dark now started on that hive. No lurker den on the way yet. 4th base being taken for both sides. Though Dark is supplementing with a gold base, whereas ByuN is going to be mining out of the gold pretty soon. At least some of the patches. Marauders mixed in. He already has concussive shell as well. This hatchery will already preemptively canceled. The roaches come down, guns down a few of them. Dark almost dead even with upgrades as well. I think ByuN will have a slight advantage on the 2-2 timing entirely, but still not a bad place to be as a Zerg player. Hydras. Double digits. Ooh. Siege tank obliterates that Zergling, but very importantly scouting the planetary fortress at the 4th base. Three Vipers on the way. A single roach will spot the drop at the edge. The creep spread is coming together for Dark. ByuN keeping some control of it, but he hasn't been able to really slow it down dramatically. Especially considering, even though Dark lost several queens early, he's still been able to push that creep spread out because ByuN was so committed to trying to kill the economy. Getting those medevacs into the base behind the mineral lines, and not sitting on the front lines of the creep. The mineral patch is starting to mine out, which means this is no longer a mineral wall. Both players can come through this location easily. Okay, easily is maybe overselling it a bit, but Roach Hydra is the choice from Dark. Lurker Den just now started, but he has Vipers. Not sure where the Vipers are at the moment. Finally, plenty of energy, enough for multiple parasitic bombs, multiple abducts, maybe a blinding cloud or 2. Unclear what he wants to use them for, but the drops are still working their way in. Queens getting chased down. The Queens have been suffering dramatically. Meanwhile, though, yanks the tanks into the fray, obliterates them with the Ravagers and the Hydras. Going to work. Meanwhile, a drop, not even a drop, he just runs a bunch of Marines into the north side. Down goes this entire command center. Will he pull the tank in? And Dark is going into the base instead of back out. There will be no escaping from this location, but it's unclear who's flanking who. Gets 3 more tanks, takes down several ghosts. Corrosive bile to try to zone out the bio. That's a sentence. Meanwhile, how did they even get in here? Oh, the medevac leaving the rest of the Marines behind. Eventually, the Roach Hydra will be chased down, but he's done quite a number on ByuN's army. Yes, but well, actually, nearly a dead even fight. 15 SCVs dead. There's like 6 more command centers done, though. So Dark, an overall victory, but there's still so many command centers to fall back on. He's working on 3-3, but so is Dark. The Roach Hydra army is not the most subtle, but it is effective. A sledgehammer of Zerg. Wow. A dramatic exchange, but with multiple orbitals coming together. 2 more orbitals finishing up. ByuN has reestablished a 4th base. Well, yes, 4th base. Sensor tower on the way. Ghosts are in production. But another wave of Vipers. +3 ranged attack is done. In fact, Dark has an advantage here in the upgrades. Yanks in some ghosts. But 4 siege tanks make life very difficult for the Roaches and Hydras that survive. Ground Carapace level 3. There's technically an advantage here if Dark is able to leverage it. But ByuN will be done with his upgrades in less than 30 seconds. So very unlikely. Now the Lurkers are spotted by a scan. There are 5 orbitals out there. Another command center. He's working for the Rich Vespine Geyser to the south. The siege tank line, an almost literal version, as he has them well spread out there. I can't believe it's not butter. Adaptive talent's on the way for Dark, as he wants to dig his head into the sand even more quickly. Infantry armor level 3. Another scan spots the army. And Dark is nearly maxed out, but most of that army is in Lurkers and Vipers. Well, at least the most effective bits. The Lurker count, pretty damn high here. He has the range upgrade, very important for engaging these ghosts. No cloak on the ghosts. Slices down a few. Trying to line up some shots. The scan comes through just in time to finish him off. ByuN trying to pre-split here. Snipes off a couple more Lurkers, but loses a couple ghosts in turn. That one Lurker on the high ground, knocking out several more SCVs. 17 dead in the last minute or so, but ByuN is rebuilding him quickly, chasing down the Lurker with medevacs. Eventually will take it out. Siege tanks. Zoning out of the 3rd base, but Dark now has he has half the map. The income swinging back and forth, which we don't see the mules on the income tab, but you could definitely see the result. We got a Nidus Worm on the way. Nidus Network halfway there. Lurkers. +2 melee attack has begun. Is there a Baneling nest? No. A Banelingless Zerg. A bold move indeed. And unfortunately now for Dark, ByuN has maxed out. And he's got quite an anti-Lurker army. He's got 13 ghosts and 11 siege tanks. A single ghost here. Whips out. Oh, I thought he would go for the EMP, but he misses the mark. The Vipers are wandering into the missile turrets. A full energy Viper goes down. The blinding clouds are exhausted, and this is not working. Dark pummeled down 50 supply. He also failed to close the distance on the planetary. And oh no, a disastrous attack. Loses 3 Vipers, 6 Lurkers, a bunch of Hydras. He kills 2 ghosts and a tank. No, those numbers don't add up. ByuN has solidified his position, and Dark is now struggling to dislodge it. For a moment, it looked like the dam might break. But now, oh damn, that's a lot of ghosts. Conspicuous Overseer heading in. ByuN is very suspicious. He's already sending back a bunch of bow to deal with it. Dark still has a lot of money in the bank, but he's almost at the stage where he needs to switch up the army composition into something like Infestor Baneling. As without those Banes, without splash damage that isn't related to... Oh my god, the ghosts! There's no detection here. The ghosts are nearly out of energy, but they're taking down the Hydras in the process. He's trying to body block them in. Where are the Overseers? Another ghost gets taken down, and another one as well. Well, ByuN slipping here. There's not much to defend on the south side. Nidus Worm in the center of the map, just as a reinforcement option. But with no Banelings, oh, knocks out a full medevac. So many ghosts have died in just the last, like, minute or so. 6 of them. ByuN also killed 2 ghosts with siege tanks. Down goes the Nidus Worm. But the threat is there now. Dark using it for quick reinforcements. There's a bunch of lurkers in the Nidus ready to pop out wherever they're most useful. So Dark still with plenty of money in the bank. He's clearly adapted to the PC cafe quite well. Being adaptive is the trademark of a top-tier Zerg, alright? In and out of game. 1 siege tank. Was it worth 23 Zerglings? Yeah. It depends. ByuN starting to build up something of a bank. Dark has lost 6,000 more resources. ByuN has done a great job of playing defense. It's one of these scenarios. Both players trying to take the 6 o'clock base. Dark will claim it first, but I think ByuN will claim it last. Baneling's on the way. Baneling speed in production. Nidus in the main. But it appears ByuN left enough units back at home to deal with exactly this. As now that the map is getting sliced close to in half, it's getting harder and harder to see Dark actually breaking through any of these locations. Snipes out one of the lurkers. The Overseers are here, but the ghost count is so damn high. And chasing down some more of the Zerglings. Another Nidus. There are 17 ghosts and 15 tanks on the field. There's only like about that many bio units in total otherwise. The Hydras, Lings, and Banes. This hatchery being taken out. Oh, yanks in a couple ghosts. They can still EMP awkwardly while they're in the air. A Nidus is blocking Dark's own units, creating a traffic jam in the midst of everything. But a potential escape slash reinforcement Nidus. Zerglings in the natural, taking down even more ghosts. Lurkers moving forward. Nidus is popping up every which way. Lurkers working on one of the orbitals. 2 Vipers still alive. Morphing Lurkers on the doorstep of ByuN's base. A bold move. We'll see if it works out for him. Another wave of Zerglings is heading in, getting close enough to slice up several more tanks, but he repairs the tank just in time. And here comes ByuN from multiple sides. But the lurkers are moving forward yet again. On the high ground, blinding cloud. And Dark making a lot of progress here. A bunch of ghosts dying. Banelings rolling in. The tank is finally taken down. Quite a costly exchange. But Dark continues to reinforce this position. There's still 4 orbital commands, but one of them's lifted. He's starting to run out of scans. Liberators are sieging up. Dark is not maxed out. That Liberator making life very difficult. But ByuN slowly but surely cleaning this up. Dark doesn't have as much in the bank, or doesn't have the supply I think he'd like to close this out, but ByuN has been battered down to 140. There's still lurkers. That Nidus hasn't been taken out. He puts a Nidus within the safe distance, or the minimum distance of the siege tank. How many more lurkers? Only 3 of them. One of them here. The planetary fortress is burning. ByuN? Hello? Oh my. Alright, repairs at the last moment. Another lurker. Not quite in range. Dark is maxed out yet again. Hydras, Lings, and lurkers in production. ByuN, on the other hand, is struggling to put enough on the field. Dark is just hitting him in so many different angles. He can't ever concentrate his defenses. Another wave of lurkers on the way. Oh, the orbital count is growing yet again. ByuN, I think part of the reason ByuN's bank is so small is he keeps building command centers just compulsively. Fighting into multiple liberators and going straight through them. Yanks them out of siege mode. There's enough Hydras left over. The Ghost trying to turn it around. ByuN takes out a base to the north side. Ghost retreating yet again. Multiple siege tanks. 9 drones down. Here we go again on this side. Dark. 6 more lurkers in production. The Hydra's wandering forward. Takes out another siege tank and another one. More Marauders coming down the ramp. The Ghost. Dark? Well, I mean, I feel like Dark was tilted. And remember, he's literally playing at a PC cafe right now. I can imagine, but maybe feeling like he's way further behind than he is. He knows how good ghosts are, but at the same time, and his income, the way ByuN is spread out on the map makes it seem like he has a lot more going for him than he does. Like, it feels like he has units everywhere. I think this is a game that, at home, Dark would not have lost. Or on a setup he was more confident in. I hate to make excuses, but at this stage of the game, oh, there were certainly options. He's still mining. I'm actually going to have to give this one a yellow card. This was Dark's game to lose. And even though ByuN was stabilizing somewhat, very odd time to tap it out. Yeah, it's frustrating to fight into multiple tanks, get hit by the Ghost. It feels like there are no more options. Yeah, Ghosts are... He may have lost some of these lurkers, but yeah, it's definitely not a GG yet situation from our perspective. Bit of an inauspicious start to things. But Dark still holding ByuN's feet to the fire there. And probably just a bit tilted, but hopefully able to turn it around and hold it together. As ByuN, it felt like ByuN had the army to win the game multiple times. And then Dark just pulls it apart. Well, that sends us into game 2. ByuN technically claiming that victory, despite it being just as much on Dark tapping out probably too early, but we've all been there. Oceanborn. ByuN in the bottom right, Dark in the top left. So, Dark has commented, well, he hasn't yet served his obligatory Korean military service, like many of the players. ByuN came back a couple years ago after his service. About a year and a half or so is, I believe, the average. So, unfortunately for Dark, and many players at this stage, like Zest, for example, have chosen not to return, as there aren't too many tournaments left in Korea to really motivate. So, hopefully, I'm not sure what the situation is. I don't know if he has a date or if it's the end of the year or something. But as long as Dark's still playing, and even in games where he decides to tilt himself like a pinball machine and tap out too early, still an entertaining style of Zerg. But we'll all be the poorer for it, in some senses, when it comes to ad revenue, literally. When he does, eventually, have to leave. We will see. Alright, Reaper comes in. Zergling. Take me. Well, takes 2. Die. 3 of them. The worst. Would you, with all due respect, did I lag? Nope. Oh, wait. Wait. That's Dave saying that in chat. Lag? And now I'm confused, because I think Dark is just trash-talking Reapers. Well, alright, get him out. Dave, definitely a preemptive GG there. I will say. I think Dark just complaining about Reapers, which is par for the course with him. These two go back and forth, trash-talking sometimes 5+ minutes into the game. The Zerglings. Speed done, chasing down the Reaper, but the Hellions have arrived. Dark pulls back. And ByuN. The Queens. Brenda! Would you move more? So whose responsibility was it to get that first creep tumor, Susan? Whose job was that? Okay, this week it was your job. Okay, so I don't want to hear any complaints from this side of things. Sorry, I blacked out for a moment. Creep tumors now finally coming out so the queens can maneuver. It looks like Dark headed for either a very quick Nidus, which, you know, would be on brand, or possibly Mutas, but the Nidus seems most likely at this stage of the game. Yeah, only 2 gases in total. Just enough to be able to build a Nidus right as the lair completes. There it is. Reaper offered up as a sacrifice. Zerglings looking for a counterattack opportunity. Unfortunately, the Hellions are right there with them. Zerglings pull back. Bunker at the front for ByuN. The ByuNker means he's somewhat suspicious. There will be Banshees, but no cloak. Oh god, he knows Dark so well. He's got a Marine on patrol, and he's just sitting... Wait, did he see it? No. But his suspicions are, very much real. And here comes Dark. The Queens and the Nidus, 3 more in production. ByuN seems to have a very, very good idea of what's happening here. And here we are. We've arrived! Susan! Shh! Banshees take out the Nidus of the main, but the Queens... Well, maybe a bit of a too many cooked situation here, but... Adding on more and more creep tumors. Looks like he's physically trying to block. Well... There's so many creep tumors, he might not even be able to take it down with one scan. Well, he's definitely not going to be able to take it down with one scan if the Queens are there protesting. He's trying to lay down so many creep tumors that creep tumors do not have much HP. They have like as much... Well, I guess they technically have more HP than a Zergling, but not by much. 50 HP apiece. And when you have like 20 of them, Baneling's on the way. He's going to try to bait ByuN into a horrible fight. He only has 43 drones back at home. The Queen's out in front of things. Does he pop back into the Nidus? There's no escape now. Here come the Legs and Banes. There are still 2 medevacs. He gets into the natural. The siege tanks. Baneling crashing through. But the siege tanks are still behind the lines. And Dark just taps it out. A dramatic play, but an ill-fated one at the end of the day, as ByuN holds it down. I think Dark a bit tilted, though still putting on some entertaining games. And that brings us to our bonus series, which is Dark versus Hanmano, who's a Grandmaster Terran from earlier in the tournament before, apparently, before Dark was forced off his computer into a PC cafe. So we get some more dark action. And I plan on pretty much casting every single dark game I can find. Winter, didn't you already do that? No, you have no idea how many games have dark in them. But our anti-spoiler bonus series. We'll see what dark does. Now, first things first. I want to make a statement, which is, what is going on here? That was a question, but also a statement. So it's blue versus teal, and I have no way to change the colors as an observer. The only real way to do it would be to use player colors, and then, well, anyways, so you know the difference between a Terran and a Zerg, of course. I don't have to explain this to you. But if you'd like more detailed differences, you can check out my Dronely fans after you like and subscribe. Dark. Expanding. God, it's just hurting my eyes. Hopefully, not all the games are like this, but both players are probably using whatever individual player colors they choose. So it won't bother them nearly as much, but we get to enjoy this Azure experience. First Reaper. Trying to pop the drone up to the high ground. And the Zerglings. The difference between a ByuN Reaper and anyone else? 0 kills, no complaints, and the Zerglings are all still alive. The third base was blocked by an SCV, but Dark just takes the northern base anyways. Doesn't bother with it. I guess that Dark preferring to inject the hatchery instead of lay down a creep tumor early. Just get that extra larva, which does slow down, obviously, your creep spread, but helps to boost your economy. Or if you're more inclined to make a bunch of Zerglings, well, could be that too. Reaper will not be making it out of this. Tries to. But did it just bounce itself back up to the high ground? Huh. Interesting. Third command center about done. And we're going to see a 3-2-1-1. The best ByuN impression here. 3 command centers, 2 barracks, factory, and then starport. Dark as a lip. So, it's a Nidus again, isn't it? And by that I mean, for the first time, as this is one of the earlier rounds of the same tournament. Which might be a small reason why ByuN was so prepared. But another reason might be because he's played Dark several hundred times. Like this year. So... well, there's the Nidus network. And... you can't have any Dark in your base. Or else you'll have Dark in your base. This, Hanmano clearly not as experienced in dealing with Dark as ByuN is, and he will suffer for it. There's absolutely no vision of an entire, like, his entire backyard of his base here. It is completely open for Nidus. The command center may spot it on the way. The network is ready. What is he waiting for? He waits till it moves out. The maximum, he waits just a few extra seconds until the medevacs are committed anywhere else on the map. Did he spot it? He has no idea. The Marines are going to drop out. The Hellions at the third base. And the Nidus in the main. We've arrived! The Queens are marching in. And the SCVs are already under fire. There's no react. He's distracting him with the Nidus at the natural. The SCVs are already dying. A single Whittle mine. But the Queens are all over the base. There should be enough creep for transfuse, and the creep is spreading forward. He tries to draw a Whittle mine shot in. The Whittle mine unburrows instead of firing on its own forces. But now the mine is taken down by the Queens. And the Zerglings continue to stream through. The natural is gone. The Nidus under fire. The engineering base at the front will be repaired. The Hellions taking quite a toll on the Zerglings. But the Queens have driven Hanmano out of his home base. He manages to save a siege tank. Another Nidus of the natural. And he's creeping all over his base. A professional creeper Dark is. Another Nidus is shut down, but he may have to move his production out of his base. Dark only has 48 drones, but that number's about to grow dramatically. He had 10 in production. Another Nidus is going to block the third. He's probably going to use that to start his creep spread there. As to Hanmano's credit, he managed to hold the first wave. But we have to ask ourselves the question, at what cost? 38 SCVs left over. He can't even really mine. He can't land. The creep spread. He needs to land to get some creep out. But the Queens are targeting the orbital command. They shouldn't be able to kill it. But it's going to be surprising. It's burning. Hello? Hello? Oh my god. Is he going to get it? Oh my god. Brenda, did we get it? Oh, we got it, Lucille. Hot damn. He kills the orbital command at the third and leaves the creep behind. Oh, no. And if there was any hope of recovering, it has almost completely dissipated now, as that third command center is required in order to get your economy back on even close to even footing, which was a very clunky sentence for a very clunky scenario that Hanmano finds himself in. Dark. Now 63 drones and counting, working on 1-1. Roach speed is on the way. +1 ranged attack and +1 carapace are quite important, but this is more of a quantity over quality situation. He just has so many roaches and lanes. The medevacs are low on energy because of all the stims the Marines have already done. Honestly, I kind of like the teal versus blue. Now that I'm looking at it here, it's quite a it's a nice change-up. Down goes the siege tank to the corrosive bile. A whole swath of Zerglings gunned down. But there's more where that came from. And the vengeful Queens. 15 roaches on the way. And the drop of doom is headed for the main. Hanmano doing his best budget ByuN impression here. Did Dark just Nidus his own main in order to, like... My eyes didn't even really... Oh my god, no, that's a no-fly zone. Yeah, because there are queens there. Shut up, Winter! No. Dark now has most of the tech tree in production. Spotting pool, Hydra Den, infestation pit. All 3 levels. Hanmano trying to get anything done out on the field. But the Roaches and Ravagers are breaking down the... Did he miss? How many times is he going to miss that tank? All right, he gets it. Breaks through the front. The Marines are surrounded. The Queen takes down the medevacs. And that's going to be that. Game 1 will go to Dark. I mean, it's a bit of a spoiler considering we know Dark makes it to the finals. But it wasn't a matter of if Dark wins. It was a matter of how. And... well, 200 supply to 79. I don't know, it could go either way. Either he could GG, or he might not. But we do have one more game. And yes, I already spoiled it. Dark does win this next game too, but it's always so entertaining. I'm gonna make a habit of until Dark formally retires or moves on, or whenever we get any sort of announcement. I think whenever you see a Dark series, you'll also see Dark bullying the other players in the tournament. Not just your Dark versus ByuN, but your Dark versus whoever he's backhanding that day. He has such a flair about it. All right. I can't believe, like, the Korean StarCraft 2 League, which you should be supporting, use that link in the description as well, is quite a prestigious tournament on a regular basis. But the prize pool at a first place is, I believe, 200. Second place is 100, which definitely worth it. But there are many players, I think, if their internet cut out, they just would have forfeit the finals. But Dark, even though he knows his likelihood of winning is relatively low compared to ByuN, who's just kind of playing from home, goes through the effort to go to a PC cafe and play out and still put on some great games. So, some real credit there. Though also, he just won like $70,000, $80,000 in the Esports World Cup. What's up with your internet, bro? I thought in Korea they had quantum internet that was several gigabits at all times. Since Korea is like majority owned by Samsung or something, so. Actually, the internet infrastructure is part of the reason why Brood War was pretty much the first esport in the world, at least on a kind of that level, that national scale. Since we've seen, well, now League of Legends and Counter-Strike and all that, but Brood War in the late 90s. Many of you remember the late 90s. I vaguely remember the late 90s. Yes. Clem and Max Pax and Raynor weren't even born in the late 90s. Just wanted to make sure you felt your post-youth. Before we see how this series ends up, but dodging through the trees there. The Overlord getting pushed onto the pervert pillar by the Marine. Roach is on the way. Three CC on mono, once again sticking with that economic play. But a bunker is going to be needed. Dark looking to end this quick. Ravagers in production. No mercy. Dark well known for just trying to bop players that he thinks he's better than. And that's why it's so fun to watch his matches against the less accomplished players in early rounds, because he will just do with merciless cheeses, just like this. And wow, there's only one Marine and a Reaper in there. He's just kind of ignoring it. Now we'll go for it. Here come more roaches. A cyclone is coming out. A cyclone and a hellion, which is not really enough. This is just a 2-base Ravager. Hello? Is he just winning? 10 SCV's dead. Well, the Cyclone, if the Cyclone dies, I think the game's just straight up over. That Marine and Reaper in the bunker. Somehow the bunker lived. That Cyclone needs to be very careful not to drive over a small pebble or something. Will be repaired. And apparently, yet again, Dark will come in, nearly cripple his Terran opponent, and then pull back and macro it out. So Han Mono did not lose a third command center to Queens this time, which is very important for your long-term livelihood. I think the most appropriate thing for Dark to do would now be go to Lair and get a Nidus. Like, obviously here. Finish him off in the same way. But he's got 2 more gases on top of the one he already had for that early roach pressure, so it really looks like he just wants to do it again. He droned up just a bit. He's got more roaches in production. And I have a feeling we're gonna see some Ravagers as well. Those 2 gases. If he's not going to Lair, the only purpose is the Ravagers. Here come the Hellions. Trying to get something done. Zergling speed is completed. The Overlord, lock on. He's actually sending the racks out. But here come the Ravagers. He's not even going to finish off the Overlord. There is still that heroic bunker. He's looking to wall it off. A Banshee could not finish any more quickly. He needs it desperately. Gonna lose. Cancels the bunker before it goes down. Banshee's almost out. And he whips out the corrosive bio, scattered across the bunker. And the bunker is still holding. Another wave. Throws it out there. That should be enough. Knocks out the bunker. A bunch of SCVs. The Ravagers are blocking each other. The Banshee doing its best, which is not remotely good enough. Mono losing pretty much everything. And the Banshee itself will live for now. Another Banshee on the way. Is this going to be the same scenario where he doesn't outright kill him, but, like, back down to 22 SCVs? The culling has happened again. Oh my god, he got the Cyclone. The Banshee holds it together. So, yet again, Dark comes in, slaps Han Mono down, but not quite hard enough to kill him. So we're going to have a round 3. He's building a 4th command center because he didn't manage to spend any of his money during all of this. Double Evo chamber. A bunch more roaches. Multiple queens. I think the appropriate follow-up would very much be another Nidus. But we will see. What? He cancels his double Evo. Oh. Oh, he's bringing the queens! A German taxi build. No soul stroll here. Ladies, our ride's here. Your chariot awaits. Susan, I want the window seat. What? There are no window seats. No, if you look through, it's kind of translucent. You can see... Oh, that's gross. Well, Dark has nearly double the supply. The queens are on the way across. Overlord speed is done. 60 to 23 army supply. Dropping creep here as well. The Banshees do not have cloak, but there's an overseer just in case they did. And look who's back. The queens are knocking on the door yet again. There's a siege tank, but that is so much Zerg. Well, what a mess this is. And this is a horrible choke point, but he's dropping the queens on top. Knocks out the tank. And I think round 3 should be enough to claim victory. I'm gonna try to get 1-1 mid-fight. Good luck with that. "24 SCV is dead. He's got 3 times the supply. And the queens are going home. Okay. Well, he's dead. Right? A planetary is halfway done at the 4th base. Dark is strolling up into the main, probably wondering why the game is continuing. Which, I'll echo that sentiment. Another tank dead. Another wave. It almost feels like he's holding on to it intentionally. GG. Dark, with round 3, claims victory. And even though he couldn't quite take on ByuN under difficult circumstances, you still see, it honestly feels like he's having a lot of fun with it too. So, Dark takes it 2-0 in our anti-spoiler series. And hopefully, both of them made your day just a little bit better. Thank you for watching. I certainly hope you enjoyed. Thank you for all the support, as always. And if you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So we're going to be enjoying those Dark games wherever we can get them for as long as we can. And then, well, we'll revisit my life decisions. But before then, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.